Good morning, boys and girls. Today is Wednesday, April 28th. 29th, sorry. I don't know what day it is half the time. Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. And let's get right to it. So, today is the 158th day of school. Here's all of it. And here's a close-up, but not too much exciting, nothing too exciting on this piece today. All right, yesterday we said hello to Hayden, so let's say goodbye, Hayden. And let's see who we're going to say hello to today. Let's say hello to Destiny. All right, say it with me. The sun will shine, the rain will fall, and Destiny's flowers will grow up tall. Good morning, Destiny. We're glad to see you today. All right, boys and girls, I know I keep saying this every day this week, but this is one of my favorite stories that I'm going to share with you. Some of you might be visiting an old friend. Library Mouse by Daniel Kirk. Let me move so you can see the pictures more than you can see me. Library Mouse by Daniel Kirk. I love the colors in this book. And the story, of course. Sam was a library mouse. His home was in a little hole in the wall behind the children's reference books, and he thought that life was very good indeed. Every day when the library was full of people walking up and down the aisles, studying, checking out books, and working on the computers, Sam was curled up in his little hole, sound asleep. Every night when the people went home and the room was dark and quiet, the library belonged to Sam. And every night Sam read, and he read, and he read. Sam read picture books and chapter books. He read biographies and poetry, cookbooks and sports books, fairy tales and ghost stories, and mysteries by the dozen. Sam's mind was filled with facts and information and images of faraway places, and his imagination brimmed over with wonder and fantasy. Boy, he's traveling all different places in his books, isn't he, using his imagination. One night, Sam decided that it was time he wrote a book of his own. Sam folded over some little squares of paper and he took from the librarian's desk to make the pages. Then he found a pencil that had rolled underneath a shelf and he began to write. Write what you know, Sam had read in a book about writing. So Sam wrote about being a mouse. He drew the pictures for his book by posing in his little mirror and then sketching what he saw. So far he's written, every mouse has a family. And there he is posing in the mirror so he can draw himself as a character in the book. Sam worked very, very hard, and finally his first book was done. He called it Squeak, A Mouse's Life, and he wrote on the cover, Words and Pictures by Sam. He went to the autobiography section of the library and he tucked his first book onto the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. Boys and girls, we talked about this earlier in the year. I don't know if you remember. A biography is a story that somebody wrote about somebody else's life to tell about, like, maybe when they were growing up and how they came to do their job as an adult or whatever. An autobiography means a book that you write about your own life. And so this would be an autobiography because Sam wrote it about his life. Squeak, a mouse's life. And he's sticking it right there in the bookshelf. The next afternoon, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. "What's this?" asked a girl whose teacher had sent her to the library to do a book report. "I've never seen anything like this before," said the librarian, and she put Squeak, a mouse's life, on her desk. Later, she showed it to the other librarians. See how small this book is compared to the other books? And here the girl's showing the librarian the book. Oops, sorry. Sam decided to write another book. It was called The Lonely Cheese, and working on the book made him feel very hungry. It was a good thing that he always found so many crumbs to eat by the trash basket in the hallway. When he had finished the illustration, Sam scurried to the picture book section and proudly placed his latest book on the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. Now here's a story about Humpty Dumpty called The Big Fall, because we all know that Humpty Dumpty fell. This one's called Super Hippo, and this one, The Lonely Cheese. Again, see how little Sam's book is compared to the regular size books? The next morning, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. "What's this?" asked a little boy who was looking for a big book about trucks. "It's another book by Sam," said the librarian. "Just who is this Sam?" she thought to herself, and she put The Lonely Cheese on her desk. Later, she showed it to the children at story time. Sam decided to write a chapter book. It was called The Mystery of Mouse Mansion, and it gave Sam goosebumps when he wrote down the scary parts. The full moon was shining down through the windows of the darkened library when Sam crept over to the mystery section and sneakily placed his book on the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. Oh, he looks like a little detective, like a little Sherlock Holmes, doesn't he? The Mystery of Mouse Mansion. The next day, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. "What's this?" asked a teenager who was looking for a good creepy book to read before bed. "We've got to find out who this Sam is," said the librarian. "I'll leave a note on this bulletin board and tell him that I would like to meet our new author." She put The Mystery of Mouse Mansion on her desk, and later she showed it to the writing class that came in after school. That night, Sam found the note. It read, "Dear Sam, all of us at the library have been enjoying your books immensely." That means a lot. "We are all wondering who this mysterious Sam really is. Whoever you are, you certainly have a lot of talent. Not everyone has it in them to write even a single book, let alone 3. We think it would be fun to have a Meet the Author Day with you as our special guest. The children would love to hear you read your books and share some of your secrets of writing. Yours truly, Mrs. Forrester, Head Librarian." Oh, look at Sam. What do you think his face is showing? Is he worried? Is he wondering how to do that? Is he scared? Is he nervous? Maybe he's a lot of those things. Oh, look at the first line. Sam felt very nervous. He was happy that the children at the library liked his books. He was flattered that they wanted to meet him. That means he felt good about them wanting to meet him. But mice, as a rule, are very shy when it comes to meeting people. Sam could not understand why people thought that writing and making up stories was so hard. If only they would try, they might find out that writing was really lots of fun. Sam had an idea. He went to the librarian's desk and got some supplies. All night long he wrote and drew and snipped and folded and stapled his little rectangles of paper into mouse-sized books. I love how he's stapling. Look, he's so little he has to jump on the stapler. In the morning, when the librarian opened up the children's room, there was a sheet of paper taped to the door. "Meet the author today," it read. A little girl was the first to see Sam's display all set up on the front table. "What is this?" she asked. There sat a tissue box with a pair of pencils taped to the sides and a banner stretched across the top. On the banner was written, "Meet the author," with an arrow pointing down. Look at what the little girl saw when she looked in the tissue box. The girl bent over to look at the empty tissue box. "Oh," she said in surprise, for there at the bottom of the box lay Sam's little mirror, and in the mirror the little girl saw her own face smiling up at her. "Me?" she said. "An author?" Next to the mirror was a stack of tiny blank books and a pile of pencils that Sam had sharpened with his little teeth. He doesn't have a pencil sharpener like we have at school, does he? Here are all the children taking turns looking at the author, which of course is themselves, because everybody's an author, boys and girls. Everybody can write and draw stories. Write and illustrate stories. All that day, and for many more thereafter, people came to the little display to meet the author. Soon there was a whole shelf of books written and illustrated by people who had never written a book before, telling stories that had never been told. Look at all these books that the children have written. When I Grow Up, The Perfect Pet, Zip Zoom, The Smartest Dog, The Adventures of Me, ABC in the Library, Last Summer. Oh my goodness, you could write so many stories. Sam was a library mouse. His home was in a little hole in a wall behind the children's reference books. All that night, Sam sat in his hole thinking and thinking about the next book he would write. Would it be a mystery, an adventure, a funny book, a true story? There were so many stories to tell. Aha, he thought. I'll just have to write one of each. Sam picked up his pencil and got to work. Now, see why I love that story, boys and girls? It's just a fun, cute story. Now, if we were in school together, boys and girls, I would have little tiny books for you to write and to illustrate. So that's actually something that you could do with your parents. You could maybe fold some little pieces of scrap paper, make them rectangles, fold them in half, and staple them in the middle, and then you could write and illustrate. And I would love to see some pictures or videos of you maybe writing and illustrating your books, or maybe reading them. I would love to see them. All right, time to get busy with your day. See you next time. Bye. Love you.